All right, well, let's go over what synthetic research can look like. This is kind of an emerging topic, and it's something that we've spent a lot of time thinking about and working on. And we're going to kind of do a little bit of work here within Build Better that you can kind of do outside of Build Better with any tool that you want. But we have like a user persona document. So we can kind of take any single recording or any filter of, let's say, customer issues or problems or any kind of filtering that you might have. So we can take a call and we can kind of generate a user persona off of that. I've gone ahead and done this with a customer that we know pretty well. She's a product operations person at a company, and I've kind of taken that call and turned that into a user persona. I got some quotes, some deep biography, some daily outlines, but you could do this with your own transcript. You could even generate a synthetic persona yourself just through ChatGPT. But let's kind of go through that. So we're going to go and we're going to say, I need you to pretend to be this persona in every way, shape, and form. And when I talk to you, you are this person, and I want you to pretend to be interviewed for my new product I'm working on for user research. And this is not something I spent a lot of time thinking about, this persona. It's just like this prompt right here, but you can kind of cater this however you want. I mean, if you want it to be you're an existing customer, you're a new customer, whatever it might be, of course you can do this in Build Better, but I just wanted to show you what this looks like in ChatGPT. You can also come to ChatGPT and ask it to generate a persona for you, kind of how we would in general. So this he's gonna step into Samantha. But what's even cooler is I'm using ChatGPT because it has a voice feature. So I can use the voice mode. Go ahead and accept the microphone. Hey, Samantha, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you loud and clear.
Doesn't, what do you do for a living?
I'm the product operations at a startup. My role is all about streamlining the way product teams operate,
What is the biggest problem you have right now?
improving processes,
Yeah.
and
What?
making sure
Hello.
teams have the tools and data they need to make informed decisions.
It's having some problem, probably because I'm using my mic here. Hopefully you can hear just a little bit, but you can see the response. I'm product operations lead at a startup. My role is to streamline way operations. So I didn't have to provide that. It pulled that from the context and I'm talking to it. So I'm like talking to this synthetic persona. In settings, you can actually change the voice for ChatGPT, and you can even tell ChatGPT if you're on the mobile app with advanced voice, you could say, okay, I want you to sound like this person, or I want you to change your voice to sound more like this person would talk to. And at the end, you basically have this transcript of you talking to this person based off of existing user research. I mean, it's a pretty magical experience when you really think about it. And of course, you could use it if you didn't want to have a voice, you could use even O1 or O1 Mini or another model. You could use Anthropic or Gemini. You could use any model to have this back and forth conversation if you prefer another model. I'm just using ChatGPT because they have this voiceover model, which makes it kind of fun to have a synthetic user research interview. But you can kind of see where this can start going. Imagine we're starting to pull from more customer research, existing customer research, and we're able to do that on the fly. Imagine you're able to talk to a customer persona and it's pulling from research that it's already been done. So it kind of has an idea of what the answer might already be. This is just an example of some of the places that we're going, but some of the things that you can do today. I mean, really, you could generate this persona from an existing user research or just off the cuff, give it a simple prompt like this, and then turn on voice and just start having a user research interview. You could say, let me ask, what types of things would you want on a dashboard about customer insights? And it goes through, okay, I care about churn risk, engagement scores, retention. And then I can take this feedback, because remember, we've already started to create a dashboard. And I can say, okay, cool. This is what this customer would probably want. And honestly, after a lot of user interviews with product operations people, this isn't too far off. So I can go here and it looks like it even gives me a voice option too. I can go here and I can go back and say, update with these components. And I can say, okay, now I have a little bit of user research. Now I've done a little bit of research. I've talked to a real person or a synthetic person, and I have some answers. And now I want to go back to this mockup and I want to update it. So this is how you can start taking this real user research, turning it into real user personas, and then running synthetic user research over it. and then using that to inform kind of first passes, first level UI, first level iterations. And imagine empowering the rest of the organization with this. So you can then give and share that persona. Obviously with Build Better, you can share it directly, but you could kind of share that document, that persona that you've created for engineers, for support, for marketing to use to test copy, to test workflows. Okay, what would be the best issue? What kind of things should we add here? Would they prefer a button to be on the left or the right? And you can start empowering the rest of the team with giving them kind of access to this type of stuff. So we'll see what the dashboard looks like. But again, I didn't give it any more prompting. I didn't give it any more information. And it looks like, okay, something specific you'd like me to modify. This is not giving me what I want. All right, let's go to this one. Can you update this chart with this information? So we'll see what Replit does. And we can kind of push back a little bit on this. Like, it doesn't look like you've added all the components I've asked for above. So sometimes, again, this is one of the context problems that you'll see is sometimes it kind of loses the thread. So why did it just do competitor analysis? I have no idea. It felt like we were pretty clear that these are the things that you kind of want front and center from health core metrics and all this kind of stuff. So maybe it just didn't add it to the actual front end or the dashboard itself. We'll see how Replit does. It's looking like it's going through it. But again, as you start working with these models, you start seeing some patterns, you start seeing some improvements. But I really think that this is one of the best ways of using synthetic user research. Talking personas is what we typically call it at Build Better, to kind of get this research from existing calls, from existing data, from your support tickets, from all this stuff, turning that into personas that typically take companies weeks or months to sometimes generate these personas, and then all the way to then having synthetic conversations with it, and then using that to actually inform and improve UX UI design. And again, in theory, again, I could upload an image to this, and I could say, okay, look at this dashboard, and I'm going to show you what that looks like. But we'll kind of see if it can get something here. Is it refreshing? All I see is competitor analysis. I'm missing, let's see, which ones do we want? I'm missing health metrics, feedback analysis, usage trends, support and success metrics, revenue and account insights, and benchmarking. So sometimes when it kind of gets into this loop, this often means that we've kind of exceeded its context limit and it's not really thinking through the problem correctly. You'll see, oftentimes you'll see this bias towards positivity, absolutely right. This is, again, kind of call back to the positivity that AI generally has. We'll see kind of how Replit, it looks like Replit's almost done. Again, I tend to lean towards VO for more UI stuff, but as things get more complicated, sometimes Replit can be better. The reason I'm doing two at once is just to kind of play fair game with these other tools, and also allow us to kind of see competitively how these tools might be a little bit differently. But generally speaking, you can kind of use whichever one you prefer. And you could even use Anthropic. Again, you could use ChatGPT, and I can, show you what that might look like. So even here, I could say, can you generate in Canvas what that dashboard would look like? So funny enough here, I'm taking the user persona, and then I'm having the user generate their own dashboard about what they would want it to look like, which is kind of a fun way of kind of keeping the conversation going. And then I can even say, is this what you were looking for, or what else would you change or want given your role? So, I can keep having this kind of back and forth where now it's actually going from user research to a specific dashboard or an insight. We'll see if any of these other ones, it looks like V0 is just completely given up. I don't know why. It seems quite weird. Again, all I see is competitor analysis. Sounds like you're giving up, so I'm going to move on. But if you can figure out how to get this dashboard to work again, would love to see it. Sometimes being sassy, I have found, can be quite helpful. But But here you'll see this is kind of what the user wanted. So this is much more accurate. So we have like feature adoption, 30-day retention, active users. We have new usage-based charts, average time, support success metrics. I mean, this is exactly what the user persona wanted, and this is great. So I could, in theory, kind of take a screenshot of this, but let's see where we're at. I mean, did we get anywhere with V0? Are we going to look at anything? Did you finish? Sometimes you'll see that they do not always. Yes, I've completed it. Okay. So it's not going to show me what this looks like. Okay. So again, this is why I generally don't use the canvas because it's not the best at stuff like this. But I found that this is actually quite good. So, to kind of go through this, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a screenshot. I don't know if this tool gives you a screenshot itself, but I'm actually going to just take some screenshots here and I'm going to kind of use this. And what I'm going to do is now that we kind of have this benchmarking, and I'm going to send this over to ChatGPT, and it can take images. We lost that first one because of my clipboard. So I'm going to take another screenshot of this and we're going to get that into ChatGPT. And then do these screenshots look right to you? Anything you'd want us to add or remove? So now, we can kind of forget about that canvas. And it's going through the screenshots and it's kind of analyzing it. If there's anything specific you want me to add, I want you to review this, Samantha. So again, sometimes you're going to have to keep reminding it some of this information. These are why some tools can be better. So like when you start using a specific tool for a specific thing, you won't have to think about, okay, why is it losing context? Why is it not doing this? So much more streamlined. So, it's giving some feedback as Samantha, who is this persona, and it's kind of giving me some ideas, some revenue track. Okay, cool. Okay, sweet. And then I might go back on another iteration. So I'm going to copy and paste this and I'm going to go straight back to Replit and I'm going to give it that feedback. And you can kind of see how we're now taking, again, the real user research. We then generated a persona with Build Better. We then took that persona, synthesized it into a synthetic persona. We then had a conversation with that persona about what they would want. We then took that feedback. We then mocked it up with Replit. We then took those mockups, sent it back to the customer and said, hey, is this answering the question? Are these the things that you want? And then we then took that feedback and then brought it back to Replit to then update the mockups and dashboard itself. We can, add on, we can just keep going through this iteration cycle as much as we want. And this is, again, kind of where I think a lot of user research is going is, we're able to make these really fast iterations and we can learn from this. Is this as good as setting up a call with a customer, getting that recorded with a tool like Build Better, and then, kind of doing this research live? Absolutely not. You're always going to get more insights with it, but you might start realizing there's really obvious things that are pretty common design patterns, pretty common issues that your users might be able to address before you start showing user, so that when you do have that call with the user, you're not going through basic UX flows or basic things. You're able to really say, hey, I've already gone through 3 or 4 iterations of this, and so I'm pretty confident this will solve the problem, but now I really want to double check. And so again, you'll see here that we have better segmentation, better filtering, which was a suggestion. You'll see that we have different segmentation. So I can now do SMB enterprise, which is a great suggestion. And you'll see that these trends kind of show by specific features. This is all synthetic data. And we have different metrics that it suggested. And I can keep doing this. So that is a high level of kind of talking personas, generating personas, and improving kind of dashboards and using that feedback to generate synthetic user research. And that's one of the top use cases that we've seen a lot with user research lately. Hope you like it. And the next one will kind of go over some more reporting, some workflows, and some other use cases that you can use AI for. Talk to you later.